Okay guys, good morning. I'm here continuing to work on this Lion-O action figure. So this is what I got done a little bit last night, and I'm just gonna jump right into it and continue to do the inking. So you can see the reference down there of the Lion-O action figure. It was going quicker than the last video you saw. Once I stopped the live stream, I just started getting into a little bit of a flow, and then you just get quicker at it. So doing these screen grabs too, people were reviewing these action figures for Lion-O, and I was watching doing screen grabs off of their review because they were, moving them around, and just so many helpful resources. And then these joints, see, I have all kinds of reference pictures here of joints of different kinds of action figures. So I know this Lion-O is not the classic one, which looks like that, but some things get better in time, so I'm gonna go with a modern action figure because then it would work for that kind of janky pose of the ragdoll. So the modern one with all the joints and everything is just going to be so much better. It's like here's where his knees all bend. I'm doing a slightly different one. There's one here, I'll show you. Like you can tell this one, if you can see the mouse, nope, you can't. But this one, the knees just open differently, and I'm gonna go with that. See down here? I like that one. It's your storytelling. See that more than accuracy of how the toy actually works. You're telling a story. That he's an action figure. That's the big picture. It's not a toy design. Like how does this action figure work? It's he's an action figure. So that's where you kind of can lose sight of the bigger picture of storytelling if you focus too much on the mechanics of it. It's not an engineering drawing, it's a storytelling drawing. Big action figure falling into a toy box. And actually this reference here, this is interesting. This is in that I have a book on Jim Phillips' artwork, and this reference image is the aftermath of the toy box. So the skateboard graphics look like this, and you can see that the ragdoll and all the toys are cramming into the toy box, and then they destroy it. So this is another drawing that he had on after. So I'm gonna try to capture some of that. I wish I had seen that one a little earlier. So I don't know if I'm gonna get that actual storytelling in there, that they're falling into, but cramming into the toy box. Now I'm not going to do too many of these live streams because of the inking process, because you can tell it's painstaking. It's a lot of undos and a lot of experimentation, because it's not, again, I'm not so much an illustrator, and this is a level of precision that I don't practice a lot. So it's just a lot of undos and a lot of redraws and all of that. But that's where I'm using this whole project to just learn and grow. So I don't want you to suffer through a lot of live streams of me struggling. It won't be a benefit to you. Okay. Darken some of these lines. So I'm collapsing these layers here. You can see the lower body. And then I'm working in these layers so I can come in and you can experiment. You can just erase certain things, or you can draw over things and then erase to clean them up. So for example, this ab area is separate. So I'm going to make a big piece out of this. Okay, so these are the legs. And you won't see this, but in case I have to adjust them, because I'm probably going to mess with some of the proportions later in Photoshop, or rotate things. So I'll make a piece out of this. Okay, so there's all the pieces, and then where I would go from here is you're now taking that, you're experimenting with adding all of this hatching and even stippling. So I'm going to do a little stippling for the tongue, because that would make sense. That it would have, see if you look at, see, I'm zooming in here to Jim Phillips's art, and he uses a lot of stippling. So yes, I'm just stippling. I actually have a brush that is stipple, like this. See, you can actually use that as well. There's a little stippling in there. So the goal for this is to get it to where it's really close to at least the kind of the look, again, you know, to the level that I'm at. Because yeah, you're always learning and growing. And then I'm going to color this. So this is the hero. And if I can see this in color and finished, and I'm going, yeah, that's going to work, then you're motivated. I'd be motivated to then keep going with all the other toys. So I'm picking the hardest thing first is the hero. If I can make that work, I'm going to be motivated. That so much of creating art is staying motivated. You can erase some of this to add like a rim lighting. So now I'm using this big hatching brush. So I was seeing that he was even, Phillips was even adding just a little edge like this, and it just made the line not so sharp. Again, we're going for that retro look. Yeah, see, I'll give you an example. Like even just this, I wish I had a crisper version, but see this pipe here that's busted up. See, he just adds a little texture to that edge. So one of the things I'm trying to do as well is limit the amount of tools that I'm using, so that I'm basically using 2 brushes to ink this whole thing. And maybe sometimes a little of that stipple. And the reason why is because I don't want to keep having to switch brushes. It's going to take forever if I do that. So again, the goal is to just create something and not labor over it, and just it becomes painful. So now here I can add a bold shadow. And then use the same brush and just erase some of those necklines. Typically you use like a white pen or something like that, or paint over it. You're just cutting out a little of that. this drawing of Jim Phillips is really helpful. All of it. It's all inspired by the original art that he did, which is really neat. When I flip through that book that I have on his work, I'm just amazed at how many things that I loved of his art and didn't know he did them all. Sort of omen. Gotta remember that, light source. I'm trying to remember this way, It'll make sense of the hatching. Yeah, because the shadow would drop from his hand. I want to see a little bit of those gears in there. It'll make sense out of, the shadow or the, just where the dark shadow would go on the metal. Yeah, he's moving along here. Yeah, and that little jagged edge. Yeah, we're coming to the end of the stream here, and I'm going to keep jamming. Yeah, thanks for watching again. Until next time, keep drawing, keep designing.